Oh, we're live. Scuba Obsessed, the weekly podcast. We talk about all things scuba diving, from cool new gear, the places to dive, and scuba news. Scuba Obsessed episode 536 is recorded live. 536 is recorded live, June 2nd, 2022. Welcome back to Scuba Obsessed. I'm Darren Jolson, coming to you from the southwest side of the great state of Michigan, where the grass is much higher than my knee. Joining me this week, we have Mac, the dive mentor. How you doing today, Mac?
I'm doing very well. I'm still trying to figure what happened to May.
May? The same thing that happened to April and March. It just is zooming by. It's crazy. Hard to believe it's done. And we just got through, what we say, it's the beginning of summer, even though it's not technically summer on the calendar. Memorial Day weekend here in the United States. Some people got diving. I think my big excursion was visiting some of the cemeteries with my dad, visiting some relatives of the military background, and then also I did get a chance to go to the PGA tournament for a couple hours as it was winding down. That is a fancy setup. There is some money there. Have you been to that?
I worked at the golf course doing diving stuff, but I don't golf and I don't really care for it. I used to watch Tiger Woods just to see if he'd win.
Yeah. Well, watching golf, I think, is pretty terrible. I've played golf, but my rule in golf is if I don't play my first game by the end of March, I'm not going to play all year. So it's probably been 2002. It was the last time I played a round of golf. Even so, I'm usually bored by 9, so I like to go first thing in the day, do 9 holes, and then do something else later on. But it was fancy. The KitchenAid PGA, I don't know, they called it Classic. It's for seniors.
They had a lot of coverage, both international and national, and a lot of stuff in the newspaper here for 3 days. Yeah. So it was a moneymaker.
It was a moneymaker. I mean, those guys were good. You don't realize how close you can get till you're there. They would not want to be standing where they were if I was golfing. I'd have taken up probably 3 or 4 spectators. Not in a good way.
The only way I've ever done not even golfing, is one summer I took a guy's job. He was on vacation for 2 weeks at a driving range. Fort Jackson, matter of fact.
Oh, okay.
And I enjoyed the hell out of that. I mean,
now, a driving range would be...
Anytime you want. Yes.
Yeah, I do love going to the driving range. And putt-putt. Yeah, I like putt-putt. I don't mind regular golf. I've not got the understanding of watching. I mean, watching there at the course wasn't too bad, but even then it wasn't great. Not like a good day of scuba diving. It wouldn't.
I'll take scuba diving anytime.
Yeah, it wouldn't have beaten that. So I'd like to thank everybody who's tuning in. It's probably the year 2024 by the time you're hearing this, because that's about how long it's going to take me to get it edited. Or you've happened upon the streaming version that is on YouTube. Thank you for everybody who's in the chat room. We have Karen who's tuning in tonight. Oh, so let's go ahead and jump right on into the news. We have quite a few articles. Let's see this first one as I change the camera angle. Not that one.
Did you send out the show notes?
I probably didn't, but let me make sure I do that. I sent it out to everybody else, but we don't need to know them. Gmail. Yeah, because I wait to send them out till I have the live stream, And then I've got to remember after the live stream goes on to forward them on to you. So here they are.
Key item is as long as you've got them, we're good.
Yeah. And what we do is all our Patreon supporters get these show notes in advance so you can follow along. And I am torturing my internet. It is running a little slow today. I gotta figure out where the send button is, which is right there. Okay. So this first article, veteran, and this is from Stars and Stripes, veteran dies during scuba class at JBLM. Seattle, the Tribune News Service is a source. Scuba diver was found dead after he didn't resurface Saturday during a class in American Lake at the Joint Base Lewis McChord. Was that Chord? McChord? C-H-O-R-D, McChord. A student diver, a veteran, was participating in a class for civilians, fire and emergency services, who called West Pierce Fire and Rescue at 11:30 a.m. Reporting the missing diver, said Jenny Weeks, a spokesman for West Pierce. Her agency operates boats on the lake staffed with rescue divers and swimmers. Emergency Service Department remained in command, she said. At 12:18, about an hour after the student's oxygen would have run out, West Police called the Pierce County Metro Dive Team, which has multiple divers' advanced equipment. Using sonar, the dive team located the body by 4:30 p.m. It's unclear who operated the dive class. Northwest Adventure Center, a base-run outdoor activity operator, was holding an open water scuba diver certification on Saturday, but the class website said the dive would have been elsewhere. Sheriff's rescuers were called to Russell Landing on the west side of the lake, but the class website said the dive would have been Sunnyside Beach and Steilacoom. I have no idea what that town name is. Stella? Shop in Northwest Adventure Center is a 5-star dive center approved by Patty. One of the only such centers in the military, according to the center's website. Number listed the center and dive shop did not pick up on Sunday. Safety is a top priority. Divers with medical problems such as high blood pressure must have their doctor's approval before medically cleared, the site said. U.S. Army Critical Investigation Division is conducting the investigation. Agency did not respond to an email on Sunday. In February, the dive team was also called to American Lake to recover a body of a missing boater at a depth of 77 feet. Not a lot of information on that.
I'm curious, it's like when I'm diving, I've always got my flag attached.
Yeah.
With the purpose, if I ever have a problem, at least you're going to know where I'm at.
It says the student diver, a veteran. So they mean that he was military veteran, but he was a student diver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Was participating in a class for civilians. Yeah. I can't tell. This article feels like a lot of it was just picked up from the website to fill in the details. Because I'm sure they knew where they were diving. I mean, you wouldn't. So it could be that the dive site was changed and the website just didn't reflect it. That's not the first place I changed it. So we can't assume that it was unorganized, even though that's kind of sounding that way, the way it's reported. Because it would not be unusual to advertise the dive for students. But once you're in the class, you're going to have your class learning, you're going to have your checkout dives, and those can move. So we'll have to see if we find any more details. A lot of times we don't get anything beyond what we've got here. This one's from the South China Morning Post. Deepwater diver prepares to search inside a sunken Japanese tour boat for 12 people still missing. A vessel carrying divers trained to work at great depths arrived in the port Tuesday in preparation for a search inside the tour boat that sank off the Peninsula, leaving 14 dead and 12 missing. And that might be all we get. Oh. Yeah, because they want me to log in, which is not going to happen.
It's amazing, though, you can have that kind of disaster and it doesn't count. You don't hear about it anywhere else unless something special like this.
Mm-hmm.
You only heard about it because we're looking into diving. It's a diver-related item. But that's quite significant.
14 people. That's a... We like to believe that all transportation is safe. I mean, I think we've just become numb to it. It doesn't sell papers or people don't click on it, so we don't get to cover it. I'm looking in the photo at like those interlocking barriers, cast concrete, where they kind of interlock to make a break-up wave action.
Mm-hmm. Well, it goes in vogue with the number of boats that have caught fire or got stranded.
Mm-hmm.
But the death toll for that one is quite high.
Yeah.
One last week we covered, nobody, as I recollect, no fatalities on that one.
Yeah, and then take the plunge. I'm a diving expert. Here are things you shouldn't do underwater. Resident marine biologist. Oh, goodness. We'll call her O. Christopher. As advice for everyone looking to enjoy themselves in the deep blue, she says knowledge of local habitats and wildlife, diver safety, and environmental responsibilities are key. If you're heading out to dive-centric holiday, make sure you locate an accredited center. Look out for both you, your welfare, and the marine environment you'll be exploring. Whether a beginner wanting to introduce your children to the marine environment or looking for some pointers after COVID enforced during hiatus, she has tips and insight to get most from your diving holiday. And we'll follow along to see if we agree. Pre-dive holiday preparation. Do your research for several different types of underwater environments, seagrass, meadows, coral reefs, wrecks, protected areas, and more. Understand where you'll be diving or snorkeling and the species you might encounter. I'm trying to see what the goal of the article is. Is this for somebody who knows absolutely nothing about diving? Or maybe somebody who's certified, but maybe a little rusty?
Well, I was looking at the wall dive, and that's not for a brand new guy.
Oh, the photo?
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
it looks pretty deep.
Yeah, well, I mean, and the thing is that a real photo?
Yeah.
Because that almost looks like it's
actual.
It almost looks like it's Photoshopped, like somebody took two photos together. Oh, there's 5 photos in there. Let me see if I can click on it. What we're going to see. Oh, that's Getty, which is a clip art service. So they're just doing that to fill it out, clickbait. This is David Doublet, wildlife photographer of the year, showing some red-toothed tiger fish. There is another Getty photo. Marine wildlife, great or giant whale shark. Snorkeling, another Getty photo. And Ozen Life Beach Villas, who probably sponsored the embedded ad. So the first one, I mean, that's a good tip. I mean, if you're going to go someplace, know what type of dive you're going to do. And do you need more training for it? I mean, just having an open water, or sometimes what we even call the resort course, where you're not really certified. You're going to want to make sure that you feel comfortable the type of diving you're going to do. Are you going down there with a group and they're going to provide you some training, or, but here they're talking about, especially like, know the wildlife. I'll just Species behavior characteristics protect you from harm. Triggerfish, for example, protect their eggs and become aggressive if you get too close to their nests. So, and that goes for in and outside the water. I mean, if you're hiking, know your environment.
Well, actually, around here, the only thing you got to watch out for is mating or breeding carp. They get territorial. They'll blindside you and run right into you.
Yeah, I can't say that I've ever had one. I mean,
I have enjoyed that a little bit. It'll get your attention because you're
yeah.
who the hell is pushing you? And then you finally realize, oh, that's a big carp right over there.
Well, and
in his breeding ground.
And to help keep you from panicking is understanding what could be. I mean, if nobody's told you what you could bump into or what you can see, that can jolt you, especially in low vis. I mean, that's the thing up here if you're diving, is know what animals are there, but also like snapping turtles. You know, cheese fry. Used to love those snappers. Yeah, you know, we don't do much noodling here, where you fish with your hands in the crevices.
That's why I have those stainless steel prods.
Yep. Poke them in the hole. That's not what I'm saying, people. Packing. Reef-friendly sunscreen, hats and caps, sunglasses, insect repellent, rash guard, seasickness treatments. Off to some nice tropical locations, you're going to want to do that. And make sure you reapply. You know, rash guards. That makes sense. Seasickness, is that automatically a must?
There's a lot of people I know, at least for spectators who get on the boat, or I should say family, who are a little more queasy than the divers. Yeah. But then again, we've been on dives before that. I'm glad I'm in the water, not on that damn boat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's going like this, and it's like, you come up, the wives are not happy when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, they've been bobbing around for a while. You can only tell them, look at the horizon so many times. Yeah. Protect the corals, number 4. If you're diving in coral reef, they're making an assumption there. And then 5, how to behave in the water. Never touch or chase marine wildlife. Stay off the sea or ocean bed. Your other divers will enjoy that as well. You're not tilting up the bottom. Do not feed the fish or marine mammals. Do not litter.
You know, about that feeding, I understand that, but a lot of times it's fun. And you know they do it at the quarries.
Yeah, well, it depends on the environment. The quarries are what I would call a closed environment. It's like you're swimming in an aquarium. So it's really up to the quarry operator as to what they allowed. Like at Gilboa, for example, at least before it changed ownership, you used to be able to buy the feed right there at the where you got your air fills.
I do know in the river sometime if you take a can of Cheese Whiz and go squirt it, you'll have a lot of people or a lot of friendly folk gather around you.
Yeah, the fish love us.
Well, especially when we dig up the crayfish.
Oh yeah, I kind of feel guilty when I do that. You see a little crayfish go up, and it was like a smallmouth will come and eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good at that. That's why they're our friends.
I don't know about friends, but they sure do hang around.
Oh, they only want us for the food we stir up.
Yeah.
Experiences with ocean giants, unless you're in freshwater again. Rays, whales, sharks. Do your homework. Some of those, like Karen had said, she loved those ray dives. Introduce children to diving or snorkeling. Education is key. Yeah. Food and drink. You burn a lot of calories, so good balanced light meal without heavy fats. Oils recommended. So what's a good meal? You know, I'm not super selective, but I won't eat like right before. I prefer to eat after. You don't want to be extremely hungry, but For me, it's more of, I'm going to be horizontal in the water. Do I want all that food pushing up against your esophagus and stuff?
Generally, I think when I'm out there with some of the guys from the club, it's always mixed nuts, drinks, electrolytes, and after we're done, that's when we have the Subway sandwich.
Yep.
If you're out there scanning, whatever you can tolerate with the wave action.
Yeah. Yeah. Karen was commenting on seasickness. She says, yes, candied ginger and medicine, malcazine, meclizine. Oh, prone to seasickness boat will sometimes have that. Opt for slow release energy foods. They're saying eggs, cereal, fruits, bagels, yogurts, toast. Slow release foods. Toast? That's not a slow release food to me.
I don't think so either.
No.
Especially if you put butter on it.
Oh, it's good. Butter. Yeah. Yeah. But the eggs I could see, nice thing about a hard boiled egg, especially is that it packs really well. Fruits are always good. I always like fruits. I'll sometimes bring peanuts. Just have to make sure you're on the off the back of the boat, not putting all the shells somewhere where they don't need to be.
That's most of the planters in the bottle.
I like them in the shell, but yeah, planters in the bottle are good too. So make sure you drink plenty of fresh juices, water. Water dehydration is a must. Maybe alcohol afterwards if you partake of that stuff, but usually don't before. Avoid citric fruits that can cause acid reflux. Yeah, that's the thing for me. I can be kind of prone to the acid reflux, so that will determine my pre-dive diet more than anything else. Sun protection. We said earlier, it's easy to get a boat. Use umbrellas, sunglasses, hats. Yes, yeah. As a person and with sunscreen. I kind of need the hats or I'll crisp up.
It's never bad having a jacket or a sweatshirt with a hood because a boat ride back can sometimes get chilly, especially if the sun goes down.
Yep. They're saying wait 15 to 20 minutes after applying sunscreen to let the sunscreen absorb sufficiently. Include lips, neck, feet, back of your hands, reduce risk of sunburn. Some of the worst sunburns I've seen are people snorkeling.
Yeah.
Because you're in the water, you feel cool, but you can burn to a crisp. And you have to be careful. Not all, you can even burn through a t-shirt. Use an SPF of at least 30. Make sure it's reef safe. Because there's some chemicals in some of those sunscreens you don't want to, that can damage the reef. So.
And or you get the shirts that are sun protective, that have levels themselves.
Yeah, some do. I don't personally have any, but
I've got a couple for gifts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't normally burn through a t-shirt at home, but I've heard that in the water you can. See this next article: volunteer scuba divers clean the bottom of Lake Fallon. I'm going to say. Young divers took to the water Saturday morning to clean up the bottom of Lake Fallon with the swimming beach area. It was a BSA, Boy Scouts of America Scuba Venture crew. 520's 12th year in removing debris from the lake and shore, partnered with Great Lakes Shipwreck Preservation Society for the event. Most divers reach depth of 26 feet in Lake Fallon. Divers will find lots of glass, pop cans, other unusual items in the water that was thrown in the water or left on the ice or picnic tables, street signs, and other unusual items. So what they're referring to there is when the lake froze over, people were out there doing stuff, and then when the ice melted, it went in. More than 30 youth and adults volunteered in the Twin Cities and Iowa, participated in the cleanup. They said Great Lakes, but Lake Fallon. Tell us where this is at. Great Lakes is what's throwing me off. I think this is in Iowa. Probably somewhere like that. Let's see what the weather is. That will tell me. Click on the weather link. Minneapolis, Minnesota. Don't you know?
Ooh.
And then 3 shipwrecks may be a factor in explosive growth of dangerous jellyfish off Hawaii's Waikiki Beach. New study from the University of Hawaii is helping solve some mysteries around the state's growing box jellyfish population, one that may partly be linked to the number of shipwrecks off the beach. Box jellyfish are among nature's most quietly dangerous sea creatures. Venom can be fatal to humans, making them dangerous hazard on popular beaches. Since 1980s, the box jellyfish population has boomed and they occasionally wash ashore with such alarming, I lost my place here.
Alarming frequency.
Alarming numbers. The Hawaii officials have closed beaches as a precaution. Study began over a decade ago in an attempt to discover why these mass beaches become more frequent off Honolulu. From 1994 to present, once sporadic aggregations from beaches now occurred every lunar cycle, at least 2 days during the period 8 to 12 days after each full moon, the study found.
Full moon?
Yeah. It must be part of their reproductive cycle. The reason for the increase, researchers say, is the total number of box jellies has grown dramatically over the last decade, where once a few jellies washed ashore, many more are finding their way towards highly trafficked beaches. Study points to 3 large metal shipwrecks may have aided in the population boom. The shipwrecks, the YO 257 in 1989, San Pedro in 1996, and the Sea Tiger in 1999, now sit at the bottom of Malama Bay. They're just become artificial reefs for nearby wildlife, including jellyfish. Study notes other locations globally have seen increases in areas with shipwrecks. Study also posts...
I haven't heard that.
I haven't either.
You heard that before?
No. I know that over in Japan they were having a huge problem with them increased. And some of the thought was just nutrients in the water. The human diver decreases the population of sea turtles, and fish may be contributing to the rising box jellyfish colonies. See, the box jellies, the way that they reproduce, it doesn't seem like, something that can be preyed upon. I could see it being a benefit. Shipwrecks.
Does it say what its natural enemy is?
To test out the theories, researchers sailed out repeatedly, conduct difficult jellyfish census. Research of this type is extremely challenging due to logistical complications involved with offshore nighttime tracking and sampling. Capturing organisms with nets is difficult because bodies are fragile, may be damaged or destroyed by the nets. They can cause trauma or death very rapidly. Sting of the tentacles can cause cardiac arrest within minutes. The study warns that keeping deadly jellyfish and eager beachgoers apart may present a significant challenge going forward in the area. Now, they don't really provide much. I would like some more details. I know it's hard, and they're only able to look at their population sample. Before that, it was just based on, hey, we see them on the beach, now we don't, which could be explained by other things. I'm looking at this nice photo they have there. A lot of hotels there. I mean, there's a lot of other things other than 3, it seems a little causal, doesn't it?
Well, depending on what kind of, I won't say pollution, but...
Yeah. I mean, they have to...
What kind of outflow do we have out there?
Yeah, you have... they need food. They need lack of predators to really boom. And they need environment. So... Yeah. It's interesting. I would like to see more before I would necessarily
Say it's the ships.
Yep. Say it's a ship's. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, part of it would, what I'd hope that they would say is what's the habitat? A box jelly, from the time they start, do they flow with the currents? Do they hang around an area? I mean, I know they got some motion. So, yeah, it's worth studying. We have the BBC Travel says the rise of the female scuba diver in Jordan. In a predominantly Muslim country, women are discouraged from scuba diving, but with trailblazers proving they can do it, are the figures about to be buoyed up? They get paid for the funds? Yeah. The article's talking about a female scuba diver who's become an instructor. She's the first female dive instructor in Jordan. We are lucky to have her working for us. Brought up in the fairly strict Muslim community of the Jordanian city of Al-Karak. Wad was, as all her female friends were, discouraged from participating in outdoor activities, particularly anything deemed adventurous. In 2013, after she finished school studying accounting and IT, she serendipitously found a job in a dive shop in Quaba. This is where her whole life changed. One of the diving instructors asked if I wanted to try diving. She told me, as we chatted in the boat, it was something I never thought I should or could do. Women from my community didn't do it. Despite her concerns about what people may say, she decided to take a big step literally off the back of the dive vessel. It changed her whole perspective. When I got in the water and saw the life down there and experienced fish coming close to me, it made me very happy. I wasn't worried about what anyone said or would think anymore. I was just overwhelmed by the calm and silence. I knew I wanted more. Wad wasn't just thinking of more diving excursions for fun. She was sure she wanted to take this up professionally, become an instructor, so she could teach others the joy of exploring aquatic life underwater. But first, she had to tell her family. I worried, but though they were surprised, they were very supportive. Despite some people from my community saying it wasn't something a woman should do, my parents encouraged me, which made me determined to carry on to show people that women can do something different. Lifting air cylinders onto our back, she described the next dive site where we were headed to, a sunken military tank. And I think we've heard about that dive site. And it goes on and she shares some experience. Oh, look at that photo there. It was scuttled to create an artificial reef for marine life. I want one of those. Yeah. So they go on. That's good. I mean, part of it's a culture. You have to have, support. It's hard in some of these other areas of the world.
Oh, yeah.
The dive shop says they've seen a rise in female customers. I know in some countries that the sexes aren't allowed to mix. So if you don't have female instructors, you're not going to have female divers. A lot of promotion. Every year we have Patty's Women Day Dive on the 20th of July. In 2020, after the pandemic, became the first city in Jordan to reopen, and we were surprised and pleased to have 100 ladies coming out to try diving. That's a great day there. I asked her if she prefers taking men or women on dive excursions. She says it makes no difference. I just love to take out new divers and see their faces afterwards. I can tell how much they have enjoyed the experience. Once we're in the water, we're all the same. Good for her. It's a beautiful location, though. Look at that water. It almost looks fake, doesn't it? Yeah. We just don't see water that clear or that color. Actually, if I see water that color, it probably means a storm's coming. And then here we've got a glimpsing an 18th century trade on Sedana Island. The Sedana Island shipwreck is unnamed, unidentified beauty sitting 35 kilometers off Uganda, close to the sleepy Sefgada. I'm destroying names. Perched on corals 30 meters underwater, it was first located and excavated by teams back in 1995, a process that lasted 3 years until completion in 1998. A behemoth in size, the wreck measures 50 meters long, 18 meters wide, approximate cargo of up to 900 tons. According to the Silk Roads program, the wreck was presumably sunk in the later half of the 18th century, around 1760. At the time, economic traffic had overtaken the Red Sea and pseudo-Silk Road that connected Asia and Africa and later Europe. The Red Sea became a vein of trade and commerce. Although the wreck inherits resemblance to many vessels of the 17th, 18th century, the origin remains largely unknown. Borrowing motifs from Arab, Chinese, Mediterranean, European sailing vessels, the wreck produces an interesting set of questions without answering them. Scholars extrapolate that the ship must have been built either in Egypt or India, though other cargo-based assumptions present differing possibilities. Ooh, here we go. There's some photos.
How deep could, I mean, doubles, is that unusual with that particular wreck?
They said 30 feet, didn't they? Was it? Let me see. 30 meters underwater. Okay, so 90.
90 feet.
Yeah, I mean, if you want some time down there. So they were doing some search, so that, yeah, you have somebody a little bit more technical. I mean, those look like maybe a couple hundreds. Photo credit, Ministry of Tourism, some more of the wreck. There's some, I don't want to call them amphora, but like some vessels or containers. There's some plates, bowls, cups.
That's nice.
That's a nice vial.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, they're covering up the broken end, but I'd still take that. Upwards of 3,000 artifacts are now housed in the Alexandria Conservation Laboratory for submerged antiquities, though it appears plenty of the items were stolen off the wreck prior to its excavation.
I don't know why they say stolen.
Because they're archaeologists. That could be anytime from 1700 to 1995.
Yeah.
So without quantifying it, they're going to say, if you don't leave everything on the wreck, then we're calling it stolen.
Of any wreck.
Right. Yeah, it was written by the Antiquities. So that is a nice little crystal there. It's not cut though. I mean, looking at that glass, Mac, what age would you say that is? It's into a mold and blown, like it was blown into a mold. And I don't know what time period that would have been.
Oh. Well, you can't tell if it's got a pommel mark or anything like that on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Rare 18th century warship rudder found in the Soylent. I'll keep wanting to say Soylent Green. It's humans. The rudder of the HMS Invincible, a 74-gun warship that sank in the Soylent off the coast southeastern England in 1758, was spotted 200 feet away from the stern of the wreck during a geophysical survey. We weren't particularly looking for it. According to archaeologist Dan, was it Pascoe? Said the 36-foot long piece The ship was built in France in 1744, was captured by the British in 1747, before it eventually ran aground with the rudder jammed and capsized 3 days later. The ship was highly maneuverable, and the rudder was critical to its design. He and his team planned to protect the rudder from erosion of the seafloor with sandbags. A gunpowder barrel, swivel guns, and bottle of corked rum and woodworking tools have been recovered from the shipwreck site. Stolen? Recovered. But see if they get it, then it's fine. Researchers from the University of Maritime Archaeological Sea Trust. If funding becomes available, the rudder could also be raised and conserved. So, money. Did they say when they found this? Wasn't what we were looking for. Yeah, not a whole lot of details.
Wrecks are always interesting.
Yep, I like a good wreck. I like finding what that is. Putting the pieces back together. And then here, if I can get this to go up. We've got a video from the ocean cleanup that I wanted to share with you. So just, I watched this one a little bit earlier. And let me turn the audio off. You're not going to hear it. So, in the background, there's people talking about what they're seeing. But there on the left is a river. They're taking a video of this river. And what they've done is the ocean cleanup is working on different types of systems to prevent the plastic waste from getting into the ocean. So what happens, you have this rain and all this plastic moves. And so they put up this, they've sunk some steel posts. They have chain link fence, some steel cable like you'd see on guardrails. And they're, I mean, just look at that. That's just from a rain. One rain. This river that they're on is one of the top rivers in the world for plastics making it to the ocean.
Really?
Yes.
So what's upstream where all the plastic is coming from?
Just people. This is in Guatemala's Rio Mantua Basin. They said, we believe it's the world's most polluting river.
Wow.
And in this video, they're just excited about how effective this has been. You can see that what they've basically created is an impromptu dam. There's so much plastic, it's restricting the flow of water. Mm-hmm. And as you see right there, it's going underneath the plastic and eroding the bottom. Yeah. So you got dirt bubbling up. It's just a test. They're just trying to test. Wow. Look at that. And this is from June. June 1st is when they...
Did they say how they're collecting it after they've got it captured like that?
This one they haven't said. This is like they've been trying to do other programs. They originally come up with this boat that you could put in the river, and it had a conveyor belt and bins. But they've been, let's see there, you can see it's eroding underneath and stuff's getting out. But yep, there's a close-up of it. Just look at that amount of plastic. Yeah, there's, I was watching some other videos on this or some programs, and there's just not effective waste treatment. You know, a lot of times there'll be alleys behind houses and in areas where the people just put trash, and you get a rain and it flows with the water. And that's what's happened here. You know, rains up.
I went to the beach 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And marked off a 10-foot square.
Mm-hmm.
you have plastic in every square inch
On the beach.
on the beach. Either
And
Gene Clock, Lions Park, Silver Beach, try any of them. It's amazing how much crap you have in the beach right there on the surface.
yeah. And so Gene Clock, I'm trying to think about that one, if that one has any how much cleaning to do. Like, I know Silver Beach, they're cleaning it all the time, but
Well, they're always raking it.
right.
They have the rake, but
Because you're eventually going to break stuff down into smaller and smaller pieces, as we've seen with the plastic. So your straws, your disposable beverage cup lids, bottle caps, a lot of your plastic bottle caps.
yeah, and diapers and things like that.
Diapers. Yeah. Diapers is quite a bit of plastic. Yeah, it's sad. Yeah. Solution might be to pay a little bit more for some of this stuff and get things that will reasonably break down, or break down in a way that's could be beneficial.
But right now, I think we're paying quite a bit for a lot of stuff. That
Oh, yes.
we won't talk about that, will we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everything's going to get expensive. Right now, it's energy costs. Electricity's going up. Diesel right now is out of control. Gas is at $4.99. I know people in California are probably over $6.
My electric bill, my sewage and water bill, all of those have escalated
Now,
significantly.
the sewage and water,
last month.
I have not heard a single good answer to that anywhere. And that's been like the last 3 or 4 years. I see on social media and some of the sites, people just bitching, and no public official comes out and says anything that reasonably justifies it.
It's interesting. I wish I could. I'll look for that same article, but they're talking about a new hazard. It's the it's almost like miniaturization, but it's little balls of plastic that are down to the, I can't think of the size of microns.
Mm-hmm.
They're finding it in almost all the fish in Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
And if it's in the fish, you're eating it too.
Yeah. Well, and that's the one thing they're saying, is that if you're not looking for it, you're not finding it. Now they're actually looking for it. They're finding it in humans that we've got, that we've digested plastic.
Yeah.
And if you eat fish that's ate plastic, you're going to eat plastic. So, plastic is really polymers. It's that, polymer chains that have happened during the process of making that plastic, and it breaks down. So some more research needs to be done into it, but there's a definite need for plastic, but I would like to see things. How about making something repairable? Just not disposable.
Yeah.
I like glass. Here I got. Whoops! As I knock stuff off, here's a nice glass. You can wash it, reuse it. So that does it for Scuba in the News for the week. I understand that there was some diving going on.
Well, the club got their Thankful Tuesday dive in. This week was Lake over at Pawpaw Lake, Morris Beach.
Yep.
Had a pretty nice turnout. We had 7 divers, 1 bubble watcher. The last 2 we've been doing is eating there. People are bringing plate to pass. We had tacos, so it was Taco Tuesday. Very good, because I had my share. But this coming week, I believe it's going to be at Magician down at the Power Lane.
Okay.
And I know Sassa's got theirs underway. So, hey, it's dive season. It's June.
You got to get out there.
You got to get wet.
Mm-hmm.
The river's still high and black over in Niles, because as soon as it is not, I will be out there. And Kevin and Amy have been out there doing a lot of looking at wrecks and looking for wrecks. And they, in fact, relocated the wheeler.
Oh,
And
really?
built that last week. And they said it's about 21, 22 feet of water. It's like the Havana on about 4 or 5 times as much stuff.
Really? It's like the
So it looks-
Havana.
Yep.
So where's
So
the wheeler?
what they're
The wheeler's
where they're saying now is we can do a 2 or 3 tank dive, because you go out of Michigan City
Mhm.
and you hit the Muskegon first.
Yep.
Then you hit the breakwater. That's another dive. And then you go 3 miles north and hit the wheeler.
Yeah,
So you get 3 dives in right there.
I have
They're
never
shallow.
I've never dove on the wheeler.
I have not dove it since the 70s.
Yeah. I've done the Muskegon. I'm saying it right. That's a Muskegon there, isn't it?
Yeah, Muskegon.
Yeah. So I've done the Muskegon, and then I've done that breakwater, which is great. I like doing that early in the year. Seems like you get later in the year and visibility drops down south end of the lake. So that's a good early one. You know, you can that can be one of the first dives of the year, maybe about the same time we're doing Havana. Oh, the wheeler, that does make a nice, or a couple dive weekends early in the year.
Oh. So it's good to hear they relocated. They have the numbers, and it's well worth a dive. And it's nice and shallow.
Okay.
So that'd be a good newbie dive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The nice thing about the breakwater is if you want to go a little deeper, you can go deeper on it and you can stay shallow. Because I mean, it goes right to the surface. It's kind of like a wall dive in the Great Lakes.
Well, and Muskegon, you're talking 25, 30 feet max.
Yeah.
And, you got a boiler, you got a prop, you got all sorts.
From shore. And we have been stopped.
You got the park to go to.
Mm-hmm.
You got the zoo. So there's activities for the family to go to.
How about Lighthouse Place, the old Pullman car factory? Pullman cars, they used to do the sleepers and stuff for the Pullman Railroad car company. They turned that into an outlet mall. Real popular.
Yep.
Yeah, great place. And yeah, excellent. Wow. Karen in the chat room is showing a photo. 3 hours fishing in Mexico. You could see a really pronounced watch mark on her arm. Is that sunburn, Karen? Let's see if I can.
Well, Karen got some diving in down in the warm water.
Let me see if I can show that image so people can see. I'm resizing, and I'll share that. So can you see that, Mac? Little sun there?
Oh my God.
3 hours.
Well, weren't we talking about
sunscreen
make sure you
and
have sunscreen when you go diving and stuff?
Yeah. Yep, you definitely want to do that. So, do you have a dive safety story for this week?
Well, I got one from Dan. I always like to use their stuff, but let's see what I got here. And I'm moving around a little bit. Well, it starts out, they talk about it's 2 missed deco alerts, a computer freeze, and skin DCS. So the background. Series of 3 different drift dives were conducted with a dive master. A buddy team made up of 2 divers when they resurfaced and checked their computers. One computer was locked after the second dive, later revealing the team had made 2 deco violations. After the third dive, one diver began to exhibit a skin rash related to decompression sickness and called the Dan Emergency Hotline. So the reported incident. While on a dive trip, a dive buddy team planned to do 3 dives per day over 2 consecutive days. Although experienced divers, they were guided by a dive master on a series of drift dives with minimal stress. Now, the first dive of the second day was 22 feet or 22 meters for 62 minutes. The next dive was 66 feet for 60 minutes. Though there was a strong current, nothing seemed out of the ordinary till the team surfaced and one buddy's computer shut down and locked out for 24 hours. The other computer did not register any violations. The team continued with their third dive after a 2-hour surface interval. However, one buddy stayed close at 33 feet, while the other descended to 92 feet. Both divers logged a bottom time of 50 minutes for the third dive. Approximately 2 hours after returning to shore, the diver on the deeper profile noticed pain to light touch around the torso without discoloration. The diver decided to call Dan Emergency Hotline as a precaution, and the medic team confirmed that, based on what he described, it was likely to be a symptom of skin decompression sickness. But by the time the diver called the hotline, he was asymptomatic. And Dan did recommend, though, that after the medical evaluation, that nothing was missed. And in absence of any other findings, Dan recommended the diver to stay out of the water for at least 30 days. The diver chose to cancel the dives planned for the rest of the trip based on the medic recommendations. So in review, skin DCS symptoms do not always present with outward skin issues. Common symptoms of skin DCS include an itchy rash, marble pattern on the skin, deep tissue tenderness, or you'll have the lymphatic glands will pop out. And you can also have swelling of the skin and deep tissue tenderness. It says manifestations likely appear in areas that we tend to accumulate bodily fat in, like the abdomen, lower back, your butt, thighs, upper arms, and less frequently on the flank and torso. But you got to be careful if you have a high body mass index. They said decompression models not only vary in predicting outcomes of reverse profiles. And then they said, although this cannot be seen as a smoking gun, there's plausible explanations of the incidents, such as the incident was reported, likely the buildup of inert gas load in the body, putting the diver more at risk for decompression related illnesses. So the recommendations, Dan recommendations was cutaneous manifestations of decompression illness might present within minutes to several hours following a dive. The more dramatic the manifestation, the more serious the decompression insult is, and you should be consulting a diver physician. Said when diving, always follow the more conservative dive per the computer, and you and your buddy should become familiar with the warnings and alerts of your dive computer and heed them.
Yeah.
Make your plan, dive your plan.
Yeah. If you're going to invest in that computer and it's telling you that you need to head up or do a deco, I mean, you certainly should follow those instructions.
Some people actually dive it to the letter, and me, whenever I use one, it's up north with wreck diving. I try to be conservative and always err on the side of I'd rather spend less time underwater than more time in a recompression chamber.
Right. Well, and it shouldn't be an excuse to not plan your dive. Still do the dive plan.
Oh, absolutely.
Know what your time you can think you can do, and if it just because it tells you, hey, you got some time back, you should still stay on the conservative side.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I do like it because it can give you some extra dive time. But yeah, it's not like a dive to the second thing. And if you've got, we spent all this effort to get in the water, why not spend a little bit extra time at a deco stop? I mean,
oh, hell yes.
I have fun at the safety stop.
I always use nitrox on any of my dives to be conservative, and I use the air table.
Yep. Yeah, because you never know when you've got those conditions going out where you may be on the other side of that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you were a little cold, maybe you're a little sick, a rough night before, not enough sleep, a little dehydrated. There's all these other factors, age, that play in. Those like what we say, the tables are made by 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
So,
like you said, I mean, I've got the skins binge once. I was on a chamber dive with 9 other guys. I was the oldest member. The skin bins.
Yeah.
Next dive, the next squad in, oldest member got hit. Only he got bad because he had to have recompression for about 6 hours. So the young guys did good. Older guys not so good. Be conservative.
A little bit more conservative profile and a little less of a time in a chamber afterwards.
Yeah.
So, good tips. Oh, I think we are getting down to the end. Do we have anything we need to plug?
Well, if you're not getting wet, it's June.
Yeah, I know. I'm
right now your equipment should be already done. You should have had your regulators rebuilt, fresh air, and wetsuits. I'm still waiting for that, Flex Seal I can get so I can fix your suit up.
Yeah. Gosh. I don't know when I can get a weekend. I don't know. I am becoming the anti-diver at this point. I don't know when I can fit something in. Not a good situation. Work is crazy. Yeah, we're at mandatory overtime for production people.
Mandatory?
Yeah, if you get hired now, you will work 26 weekends out of 52 weeks a year. That is how bad the labor market is right now.
Well, they must be getting some kind of economic compensation.
You mean the business to afford that?
Well, the individuals doing it aren't doing it out of the goodness of their heart.
Time and a half and double time. Yeah, they're doing okay. Yeah.
I can be persuaded to work extra.
Yeah, but you get burned out.
Yes.
Because usually what happens is, traditionally, way before COVID, what would happen is you'd have the holidays. We'd be running busy until January, halfway through February, and then you'd have a couple months where it's a little slow.
Can you please not kick the wall? Thank you.
And then you would have a couple months where it's a little slow and people would be begging for overtime. And then once you've got, that you've earned enough money for that new boat motor, then people are like, hey, we can stop this overtime now. But it's pretty bad out there for labor. We've got lots of open positions is all I'll say. Like I won't give a number, but It is ridiculous how many open positions we have. And it's not a matter of money. I mean, that there's just, you have to have people. People, yeah. I mean, we're not interviewing people and having them go, oh no, I don't want it. You're having a hard time getting interviews. So, but that's for another podcast.
It's amazing. If you want to work, you can do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a call at my age. I got a call today to do a job. It's like, yeah, the pay was really, really good. And it's a project type job,
right?
Defined period of time. But the money was like, okay, but hey, it's summer. I don't gotta work. I ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, if you don't have to work, why? I mean, there gets to be some point you can't take it with you. You're not gonna. Yeah,
that's absolutely true.
Any day you spend working is one less day you spent doing something else.
Yeah, very, very few times somebody on their deathbed says, "Damn it, I wish I'd have worked more overtime."
Yeah,
I don't think you're gonna hear that.
No. Well, and this is the thing: is it feels like the last 4 years has been, for those of us working. I did not get any time off during the pandemic. Essential worker. So you just worked through the whole thing. And then, yeah.
I am just so glad that I could pick and choose and not have to work.
Yeah.
Because that would have been psychologically stressing to go think you're going to bring something home to your wife or kid or something.
Yeah. For me, I didn't see people. I mean, we weren't having any visitors in. I had an office, about the only thing, and I was using, hand sanitizer like crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm set up for my second booster, getting that next week. So on the booster train.
I was going to get my second one next week too.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe it's the same place.
CVS is where I get mine.
Yeah, no, I'm sure my wife scheduled it. She told me today. She goes, "Hey, I got your booster scheduled." I think it's
they're free. Why not get them?
Yeah, I think it's next Tuesday at 5:00 or something. So yeah, I'm gonna get them. I'm a guinea pig. I'll do the testing.
Yeah. I'm just curious if we're going to wind up doing this every freaking year.
Yeah. Well, I was reading
like the flu shots.
Well, I was reading a report, and there's some thought that the seasonal flu is actually from the Spanish flu. It was a holdover. It's when it went endemic. That's our seasonal flu. So this may just be kind of the same thing. It'll mutate enough. So, they say the longer it goes on, the less deadly it might get, but we'll see. This is stuff we'll find out. We'll know more 10 years from now than we do today.
Yeah. For you guys.
Yeah. Oh.
It would be nice to be around 10 years from now, if I could still do crap, but
Yep. So
it'd be interesting to read the history.
Yeah. Are you ready?
I am sitting down and ready.
Okay. And none of these are good, but hey, that's what we're known for. My brother came back from school all motivated because he said he would be following a new diet from that day. We didn't really give it much thought until my brother really started eating his homework for dinner. When we stopped him and asked what he was doing, he replied, "I was just trying to see how it tasted because my teacher said that the homework would be a piece of cake for me."
Okie dokie.
I was visiting a house of a distant cousin when I saw that he was playing chess with his cat. I said, "That has to be the most intelligent cat ever." My cousin replied, "Absolutely not. She's lost all her matches." After a prolonged drought, when the rain came, the animals in the forest were happy, except for the kangaroo. When the others asked him what the reason he was for such sadness, the kangaroo revealed that the rain meant all his kids would be playing inside.
And that's a good one.
So I think we end it there. I mean, we got to laugh. So on that note, go out there and get wet.
And stay safe.
Do male kangaroos have a pouch?
I have not a clue.
We need answers from the chat room. Yeah, sunscreen. Karen says she didn't expect the sunscreen to quit working that fast. She's talking to Josh, and she's saying how she... Oh, ice fishing photos. It's like, no way.
What's no way? Ice fishing?
Well, this is a conversation of the burn. Yeah, with the sunscreen, the boat captain was laughing how pale I am. And Josh was saying Midwest winters, and Karen said, I didn't expect the sunscreen to quit working so fast. I showed him some ice diving photos, and my nephew showed him some ice fishing pictures, and he was like, no way. No, male kangaroos do not have pouches. That's probably part of the joke. That's Karen's verified that. A resident kangaroo expert, among other things. Thank you. I didn't think, because that's, yeah, that makes sense. Marsupial, is that the technical term? See, I
think so.
Of all the things I miss, it's my memory the most. I am...
My short term between, oh, I forgot to turn the stove off. Where the hell did I just lay my hearing aids? Or my glasses?
Oh.
You just walk away and it's like, what?
I know. I'm doing the same thing.
I did buy me something today, though. A couple $1,000.
Oh, no. What was that?
A lawn tractor. I got tired of doing that damn yard of mine.
Well, you should have said something. You could have you had that other lawn tractor that you gave me.
No, this is a nice one.
Oh, a nice one. Okay.
Big deck on it.
Yeah. I keep looking.
Now, as I did it, I got to get me one of those little sucker uppers. I can hook to the back of it, pick up the leaves and all that.
Yeah, why do you do that? Just mow it twice.
That's what I normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I'm going to get me a nice shed, 12 by 16 shed to put in the backyard.
There you go. Is anything going in the property behind you between the church and the ice rink?
Well, there's that farmhouse that's right behind me. I got his permission to take his fence down so I can put the 12 by 16 delivery
shed
of my shed.
So they're going to cross the field and bring it in?
Well, if you got a driveway, it's got to watch out for two stumps. I'm still trying to get me a contractor to come out and give me some quotes on bathroom remodeling. I want to have them both done for handicap access, increase the doorway width. You can't find anybody.
No. Nope. There is nobody. I mean, you basically have to know somebody or get a referral.
Yeah.
Because they have the same labor problem. And then some of them, when the material prices went so high, when they lost people, because they always have turnover in the construction trades, they just weren't replacing because they didn't know what it would bring. And now you're trying to get people and there's nobody to get. So they're either training everybody up from ground and they've got to work alongside of them, or, yeah, I don't know. That's tough as well.
Yeah. 'Cause Well, when I opened my garage hatchway to get to the attic,
Mm-hmm.
when I moved the lid, I looked up and it's like I should not see light there.
Oh no.
Oh yeah.
You time for a roof replacement or?
I hope the hell not. That roof is not that old, but it's like I haven't been back up there to take a look, see what the problem is. Let me rephrase that. I got a part of a flap hanging down,
Mm-hmm.
so I got that back up so I don't see the light as much. But I got to get back up there. But my wife is not crazy about me climbing up in the attic at my age. She says,
Yeah.
not as flexible as I used to be.
Do you have a ridge vent?
A what?
Ridge vent for your house?
Yes.
So
Now,
it's,
when I had it re-roofed, I had that in there.
so that could be what the light is. That could just be the ridge vent.
Actually, no.
No?
Because it's where the garage butts up against the other part of the house.
Oh, like a
Which
valley?
fits on this part.
Oh.
This part isn't. And it's under the overcrop part.
Mhm.
But I still need to get up there and see what the hell changed.
Yeah, welcome to the Troubleshooting House Issues podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go up in my attic. I haven't been up in my attic probably in 15 years. So I'm afraid if I go up.
There ain't no reason to.
No, I mean, I've thought about I could use the storage, but I've never put anything up there. I probably need to go up there here pretty soon. I'm gonna be doing some more lighting, run some. I need to do some can lights, so I'll put those in and come up from above, and probably run the electrical. Oh, yeah, it's more projects. That's all I've got. Burn stuff, mow stuff. And then I got work. Work is kicking my butt.
I can't even imagine if I had to go to work.
Your tired guys keep saying that to me.
I put my time in. Thank you very much.
Well, I started working when I was 10, and I'm feeling like it was a mistake. Because that means I've been continuously employed for 44 years now.
I don't think I was 10. I was 8th grade. 8th and 9th, I had paper routes.
Yeah.
And I sold also Boy's Life and Grit.
Yeah.
Most people know what Grit the hell is.
Yeah. I started with Grit when I was 10. And then I went from Grit to like within a month to the actual newspaper route. And I had newspaper route from the time I was 10 to the time I was 16.
Oh, I moved from there to Italy and then to Germany. And then what I did there is I was a pin setter before you had automatic pin setting.
Oh, wow.
You got down in the pit, got them stuck here, grabbed the bar, put them down, and got the hell out.
I can remember
that was in Germany.
When I was in middle school, we took employment surveys, and that was one of the jobs you could qualify for was bowling pin machine mechanic. Was one of the jobs. It didn't have a lot of options. I think it was only because there's like 3 people in the class. It wasn't me, but 3 students in class who all got that as their ideal job occupation. So,
see, my third job was with Roses 5 and Dime, which I think converted into Kmart.
oh, okay.
I did that as a senior, my first senior year.
Mm-hmm. I did.
I put my time in.
I did when I moved in the area. I did fruit farms and farmers markets. So I would work at the fruit farms during the week, and then I would drive to the farmers markets on the weekend. And then I did the farmers markets all summer. And then when I got back from that, then I was hired as a computer programmer for the insurance agency writing insurance software. Oh, I did do a little bit of work in Midland at the nuclear plant doing some programming for statistical analysis software. You know, I did the chi-square calculations for radiation readings.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to take so many readings and calculate this. And this is before, just about the time spreadsheets were coming along, but I actually programmed it all. And it ran slow as all get out. And now it would be a blink of an eye on a phone.
Now, was that job that you got because your father might have worked there also?
Yeah, that was an inside job. So I think what he did is he got it as a, like they needed it done and he got it approved as a project. So I came in, did it, and then I don't even remember if I got paid. We did end up with a printer out of it. We did end up with a printer out of it. Daisy wheel printer, where it was like a type, and it printed real nice. So everybody else had like dot matrix, the old noisy, rattly ones. And this had a daisy wheel. So when it typed a letter, it was perfectly clear. And I earned a lot of money in college doing term papers because there was it was at the time when professors were like, you had to type your term paper. You couldn't do it on a computer.
Oh,
if you did it on a computer, they would fail you. He said, if you do it on a computer, it could fail you. And I could guarantee all the people who were paying me, I said, tell them it's typewritten. And the only thing I had to make sure is you could do left justification or full. And full justification would give it away that you did it on a computer, because then it would like, how did you get the spaces for the right column to line up perfectly?
It would have been nice. I figured back in 63, 64, 65, he didn't have that.
No.
And I still remember going to slide rule classes.
Yeah, no, this was 86 and 87 when I was doing that.
God, I was on my third different job in the nuclear industry by then.
Yeah, and then I also did airbrush. I did freelance airbrush artist. I would do that in the weekends. Go to different shops and festivals and do airbrush. Yeah, God, I've had a lot of jobs, and usually I'm working 2 or 3 at a time. So, but yeah,
back when you were younger.
Now I only work 2 or 3 jobs. Still working 2 or 3. Well, I think we probably should end this.
Okay.
So, thank you much. And we'll get on out of here. Talk to you later.